Hello everyone, we're welcome to yet another video in our series on Python programming fundamentals. We've seen numbers, we've seen strings, we've seen dates, so it's natural we move to another type of variable that we'll be dealing with. This time around, it's going to be list. List has a lot of benefits over most standard variables in the sense that you can store many things in a single variable and it is almost limitless in terms of its scope. That may sound weird to a number of people because they've probably not seen how it works. So the best way to demonstrate that is to cut through to our programming environment and demonstrate that to us very quickly. So I've created a new notebook here that I'm going to use for my demo, and we'll see how this works. So let's say someone has asked you to write a program to process certain tasks for 3 customers or 4 customers or 6 customers. The standard routine would be for you to say customer 1 is equal to Fred, customer 2 is equal to Lizzie, customer 3 is equal to Adobe, and customer 4 is equal to Adam. Yeah, this works and there is no problem with it. But you are using 4 different variables to store these 4 names. There is a smarter way of storing those 4 names in a single variable called customers. I could have written it exactly like this in its predefined format. So I'll say Fred comes in here. Then I have Lizzie. Then I have Adobe. Then I have Adam. Now, I have a single variable here called customer. It's a list because I have used square bracket and I put all of the elements into that square bracket. And that's what makes Python treat it as a list. And I can process all of the individual elements in that list as I so wish. So I'll prefer to use just a single variable like this to keep 4 or more elements to keeping or creating 4 separate variables, which may become complicated for me later to manage. Now, it's not in all situations that you have your list produced and predefined with elements as I have done in this cell. It's actually possible for me to come in and say, let's say we produce a new set of lists and I call it fruit. Now this is a list that is empty. I can actually take it away to another cell. And if you print fruit, it will show you an empty cell. Okay, I'll use this kernel. Okay, so it connects to this. It prints an empty cell for me. If I wanted to do the same thing up here, I could have printed customers and it will show me all of the elements in that list: Fred, Lizzie, Adobe, and Adam. Now, this second one, fruit, is empty and that's why it doesn't contain anything. So how do we start adding things into it? So I need you to visualize it in your mind as you are a service agent in an institution and you'll be dealing with series of customers. So people will file out in front of you and you deal with them one after the other. So the first person that comes in stays in front of you, the next person goes behind that fellow. So this is an empty list. If I want to start adding content to it, I'll say fruit dot append. Append is a way of saying insert something from the very end of the list. But since it's an empty list now, I can append apple, for instance. And if we print or display the content of fruit quickly, we won't see an empty list as we did before here in cell 1. Rather, we now have something in our list, and it is apple. Now, if I take that cell, copy it into another one, and I append orange, what will happen in this case is orange will go to the end of that queue. So see it like a queue. Apple is already in front of me. So if orange comes, it can only go behind apple. So this one will execute correctly, and my list now has apple and orange in that sequence. Now that's the way to append. We can append one more fruit just for sake of demo. We can add cherry, and then that will go behind orange. So my fruit list now has 3 different elements. But let's say you do not want to append, which adds an item to the end of the list. Rather, you want to insert. It's going to be a different approach. So I won't come in here and say append. Rather, I'll go in and say dot insert. Now, when I say dot insert, the first thing I need to put here is where do I want to insert the object? And then what is the object that I want to insert, or what's the element that I want to insert? So currently we have a fruit list that has apple, orange, and cherry. So let's say I want to put something between apple and orange. Apple is at position 0. Always have that at the back of your mind. Orange is at position 1. Cherry is at position 2. So if I want to put anything between apple and orange, certainly that element is coming to position 1. So I can say insert something into position 1. I want it to be called banana. And then when I run this script, I'll see banana comes in to displays orange. Orange shifts 1 step backward because I have inserted banana at position 1. I can equally make a copy of this and say this time around I am not inserting banana to position 1. Rather, I want to insert something into position 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. So that's almost going to the end of the queue. I don't want that. Let me put 2. Then I can call it cucumber. If I execute this, I see my cucumber is now at position 2 because it came to 0, 1, 2. So it displayed orange again. Oh, why is orange being displayed all the time? But that's its luck. So this is a way in which you can insert elements to some specific positions. Or if I want to add to the end, it's also possible for me to use another method apart from using append. I can come in here and say position -1 is the last position in the queue. So maybe you should put coconut there for us. And it executes this. And it says coconut is going to 1 step before the last. It's not placing it at the last position as I expected. So that's another way of adding elements to your list. Now, if you want to remove all of these elements, there are ways of doing it, but we won't get to that yet because that's going to be the last part when I'll either pop or clear all of the elements. Now, is it possible for us to rearrange fruit? Let's check. We can reverse it. And when we reverse fruit and we print fruit out, it should give us the reversed element. So you can see initially we had apple, banana, cucumber, orange, all the way to cherry. But this time around, I said I need fruits to be reversed. So cherry goes first, coconut follows, orange, cucumber, banana, and apple. And that's what you have in here. That's also something you can do with your list variable. It's an important feature that I think you need to learn. Now, are there other things that we can do with our list? Yes, it's possible for me to say fruit number this. What is it? This is the first element in the fruit list. So if I run this, it should tell me cherry because this is the list now. And if I'm picking the first element, that should be cherry. If I'm interested in, say, the last element, of course, the way we do slicing in string is also applicable here. I put -1. It goes to the last element and it gives me -1. Yeah, it's possible for me to also go in and say fruit. I want to see everything. It shows me everything in the fruit lists, from cherry down to apple. That's almost like you writing just fruit. Now, if you are interested in, say, some components of fruit, like start from the beginning but go as far as 3, don't include 3, you can do this and it will tell you cherry is 0, coconut is 1, orange is 2. The one with number 3 isn't showing. You can do this. It's also possible for you to slice and say fruit from 3 down to the end rather than up to 3, but this time around you are saying 3 down to the end. It gives you cucumber, banana, and apple. That's also a possibility for you when you are dealing with lists. Now, quickly, beyond slicing and sorting or reversing, if you want to know the number of elements in your lists, you can just say length of fruits. And if I print this, it tells me there are 6 elements in that list that we are working with. Now, when it comes to removing elements from the list, there are many ways of doing it. One option is to say fruit.pop. When I pop this list, what Python does is it goes to the last element from the list and it removes whatever is there. In our case, apple is the last element in that list. And when you try to check again, you won't see apple in that list anymore because we have popped it. So when you invoke this method pop, it will keep removing the last element from the list. But if that's not what you want, say you have a specific element in mind that you want to remove, so you can indicate the value. So let's say coconut should go. We don't want it again. So we will remove coconut and display the current status of our fruit, and we won't see coconut there anymore. That's a possibility for us. And lastly, if you are not interested in any of those elements anymore, you can just say fruit.clear and then you display fruit and it goes back to what it used to be. It was blank. We have cleared all of the elements in the list. So in this video, I have shown you how to create a list object which allows you to deal with multiple elements instead of you creating multiple variables. We created a blank list called fruits. We were able to append elements to it. We were able to insert elements into specific positions. We showed us how we can reverse all of the elements in the list. We showed how we can slice the elements in our list. We showed how we can find the number of elements in the list. And we showed how we can pop or remove specific element rather than popping from the end of the list. And finally, we showed how you can clear all of the elements in the list. I hope you find this video very interesting. If yes, click on like, subscribe to the channel. I see you in the next video. Bye.